Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things we're talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. All right, let's see what we have to deal with today. Today is the 19th. So what we are dealing with here is the same as yesterday, a sun sign in Scorpio, moon sign in Gemini. So water and air are the two things we're dealing with, emotions and words and actions. And then here, about 9:59 a.m., we have an aspect between the moon sign Gemini, our communication, and Mars. Mars can be creativity, pioneering efforts, but it also can be warlike activities. So might be time to pay attention to the words we say so they don't get us into trouble. All right, something to consider there. Then we're going to go over to our moon phase. 96% of the way full, making its way to the new moon. The Mayan Oracle, we're at a 7-tone day. 7 tones are called the resonant tone of attunement. Kin for today is the sun. Guide for today is the human. So today would be the resonant sun guided by the human. And then these others are the supporting cast members. This side is the like-minded energy today, the storm gathering of energy. The challenge for today is the dog, which is love, loyalty. And the hidden power is birth or dragon. Okay, we look at the phrase for today, and the phrase tells us what this is all about to help us understand. It says, I channel in order to enlighten inspiring life. I seal the matrix of universal fire. With the resonant tone of attunement, I am guided by the power of free will. And then today is one of those Galactic activation portal days because you can see where we are. It's right here. So we are at 1 row and 1 column over. So we're in the same position here where they meet, and so there's a doubling of the energy. That's why they're called Galactic activation portal days. And of course we are in the theme of the wizard for these 13 days. So the way this works is this is the larger cycle here. And within this larger 13-day cycle, we have this here, which is this symbol is right here. So that way we can see the larger cycle and then where each day fits in within that larger cycle. We go over to spaceweather.com. Our solar wind is 378.9 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is quiet at the moment. Coronal holes, not much to see there. M-class flare possibility is at 40%. X-class is down to 5%. And geomagnetic storm activity you could see very low here, 1%, 10% active in the mid-latitudes. In higher latitudes, it's dropping down pretty much low as well. All right, let's go over to 4-minute news for a little bit more insight about what is going on out there in the world with weather and all of that kind of stuff. There we go.
Good morning, folks. We'll start with sprites. Toss an elf in there, and I'm not talking soda in Santa's workshop. Terrestrial gamma flashes are gamma signatures high above lightning. NASA's Firefly satellite is designed to monitor and evaluate those. If you Google suspicious observers and sprites, you'll see a couple good news videos with some excellent footage and links. Other great article today involves deep space radiation. The impetus was obviously the potential for human survival on longer space trips like those to Mars and beyond. This will also aid in detailing the levels of radiation exposed at airline passenger levels to a degree much better than we've had before. Top weather stories on Earth today include a tropical cyclone developing in the Bay of Bengal, heading due west. Also, Melissa has formed in the Atlantic, a very curious late-year development at that location. We also have deadly flooding at Sardinia. That's the same low that's been spinning and bouncing around the Mediterranean for a few days. Looks to be stalled again. Looking at the solar wind telemetry from the ACE satellite, slight rise in orange, the density, is part of a quiet sun equilibrium back and forth at low levels with both speed in yellow and plasma temperature in green decreasing slightly. KP index rightfully shows no geomagnetic disturbance. The electron flux has regained a nice curve. After sunspot numbers in the 200s a few days ago, we were on our way back to full quiet, but this morning an X1 ripped out of the departing group on the western limb. Updates to come on that one. But let's discuss 1899 and show a good reason why our communities may be forever doomed to obscurity. Someone sent me this yesterday, a Yahoo question asking if 1899 was the biggest and most dangerous sunspot ever, because suspicious observers had said so. If anyone here thinks they heard me say either of those things, you need to listen a little better. Every word about the sun recently has been about it being quiet, in solar magnetic shutdown. And as for 1899, the comments are about the tremendous bipolarity point at the central cone, showing the helicity, or vortex of the spot like we've never seen before. But this fool said the craziest thing imaginable, about danger and hugitude, and set off an entire page of YouTube and SO bashing, but from people who obviously didn't even come check the claims, just decided to say terrible things taking that first moron's word for something. I've linked this below if anyone wants to go lay some knowledge on those fools. Definitively, the sunspot. Nothing we've seen like that before. The level of beta meshing in the center has been speculated but never witnessed like this. And, since I suppose I need to say things like this now, none of that makes the sunspot dangerous. Now, while the sunspots are turning, decaying, and, up until this morning, were very, very quiet, we're also watching the return of multiple plasma filaments on the disk. Those dark lines here are billions of tons of plasma in a magnetic rope floating above the solar surface, held in place magnetically. When they erupt, they can produce some sizable CMEs. Got some other shots of our star to close. Eyes open. No fear, it's 6:40 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
All right. Today, for today's show, for today's information, I'm going to go ahead and play some more Trisha McCannon. This is another piece, and you heard what she had to say yesterday. You probably heard the interviews she's done on the show. If not, they are available. And here she is again.
Hi, I'm Trisha McCannon, and welcome to Galactic Awakening. This is the first in a series of short YouTube videos about the incredible changes that are going on all over our planet today. Changes that are affecting each and every one of the people that are living on planet Earth, and that most people don't know a whole lot about. Most of us, of course, have heard about the Mayan calendar, but what is it, and how does it affect us at a personal level? How is it going to affect the entire planet? And what was the December 21st, 2012 date actually about? This series of short videos is actually a precursor to a much longer series that I hope to present as webinars. Last summer I wound up teaching 27 hours about the Galactic Awakening because it's something that actually spans the disciplines of geology and astronomy and science and physics and quantum physics, consciousness, prophecy, the mysteries of the ancient past and what the sages have told us to prepare for, the emergence of what's called the fifth root race, or a group of beings that I call Homo Luminous, which is really our next step in human and spiritual evolution on this planet. It also is connected with the appearance of the planet Nibiru in our skies, pole shifts. Literally, the shifting of the magnetic field has already happened, having moved some 9 degrees towards Siberia, and we're certainly not done. So it's a very large subject, and this is one of the reasons why I wound up teaching such a vast class on it. So with any luck, if you're tuning into this YouTube video or some of the others, you'll get a chance to go to my website at www.trishamccannonspeaks.com, or just email email me, and I'll let you know when the webinars are. And the email is, of course, Trisha McCannon Speaks at yahoo.com. So feel free to follow up on that. So today, in this introduction, we basically want to talk about some of the very personal ways that this shift can be affecting people. Because it actually is, we're talking about a 26,000-year precession of the equinox, which is something that the ancients called the Great Age. The 26,000-year period of time basically has a beginning and it has an ending. And we basically are coming to the end of one 26,000-year great year, which we can sort of look at as a year in high school. We have an opportunity as souls to graduate to a higher realm of consciousness if we're ready, if we're prepared, and if we know how to pass the test. So part of the reason behind my teaching this Galactic Awakening is to remind each of us how to use this time in the healthiest possible way. At a personal level, a lot of people are experiencing dizziness. A lot of people are having interruptions in sleep cycles where they're waking up in the middle of the night and they never had this happen before. I know for me, I've been waking up about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning for about an hour, and then I'm able to go back to sleep. But it's because these streams of energy are literally coming into the planet and affecting the magnets in our brain. Each of us, as human beings, similar to the animals, the dolphins, the whales, the migrating birds, we all have magnets in our brain. And as we move from a position below the galactic horizon, the galaxy being like a flat plate, and this takes 13,000 years, we then begin to cross the galactic horizon. This crossing takes about 900 years. So December 21st of 2012, the famous Mayan calendar date, actually marked the midpoint in the 900 years crossing. So on that particular date, we were exactly 450 years into the 900 years where our solar system would cross the galactic bulge, which is obviously a very big area, and then we would, of course, move above the plane of the galaxy. So this means that when we were below the plane of the galaxy, the magnetics of the planet, the North and South Pole, were a specific way. Now, of course, the magnetics are in the process of actually reversing. And when this happens, it affects our brains and it affects the animals. This is one of the reasons why we've been seeing dolphins and whales beaching themselves and bird migration patterns changing or being very confused. For a lot of us, it affects us in the sense that we wind up having a difficult time with linear thinking. Things are not so linear anymore. In fact, they're in flux. We wind up feeling a little more dizzy, a little more spacey, perhaps a little more creative or intuitive, or even spiritually tuned in. This is actually the proper way to use this energy. When you wake up in the middle of the night and you're having a problem with sleep cycles, write down your dreams. Another way you can use it is to meditate, to use that strange hour that you wake up in the middle of the night to actually sit in silence, to tune in to the inner spiritual realms, and to use it as a portal of transformation and awakening. Another way I see this is affecting a lot of my clients is having emotional issues come up. Long buried issues from your childhood or from your past or even from past lives are actually rising to the surface to be healed. Why is this? Well, certainly if it's graduation time after 26,000 years, it stands to reason that we're being tested to say, what have you learned? And here, once again, is the opportunity to prove it. Have you learned to follow a path of love? Have you learned to balance your power? Are you using your power in a healthy way, a wise way, or are you misusing your power? Or are you not even claiming your power at all? Do you love yourself and not love everybody else? Or do you love everybody else but you've forgotten yourself? You're the last person on your own list. So these are simple questions, but they're profound questions, and they affect all of us. Who have we forgiven and who have we not forgiven? Who do we need to clean up our karma with? And how can we jettison basically the bags of boulders that we've been carrying on either side of us, that if we continue to carry them, we can't move through the doorway or the portal of awakening. So this is some of the ways it's affecting us at a personal level on a day-to-day basis. Of course, as we go through this, we're going to be talking about the mechanics of the pole shift. what that would look like, what the geologic history has been in the past that has shown that in fact there have been much earlier civilizations, some of which we know about and some of which remain as only legend, just as Atlantis and Lemuria have been indigenous legends to many people, and yet we're in the process of just beginning to uncover the evidence. We're also going to be talking about UFOs, the opening of stargates, the presence of extraterrestrial visitors. We're going to be talking about the light codes of ascension and how working with light at a deliberate level can help to free you from a lot of these karmic patterns if you actually will do it. Of course, we have to do it if we're actually going to graduate from Earth School, right? And we're going to talk about the emergence of this fifth root race that I call Homo luminous, or luminous beings of light. So hopefully this is a great start. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that you'll get a chance to catch some of the other YouTube videos and to tune in to the webinars. Thanks so much.
All right, there you go. Trisha McCannon. Good stuff, right? Good stuff. Very informative, and as I said, I'll get her on the show again. But go back and we've done some pretty lengthy interviews, so we have a lot of good information you can find out from the site. All right, UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. Today's UFO News has 6 stories. Story number 1 comes to us from above a football game in Kansas City. Okay, here's the object in question. During the Sunday night football game between Denver and Kansas, a viewer taped the game. This is what she said. My husband and I were watching Sunday night football, and right before halftime I noticed a strange lights doing odd maneuvers in the broadcast cutaway shot of downtown Denver. As my husband is a total non-believer, I never said a thing about it, but as we record every Bronco game, I have video proof of what I saw. And let's see here. She'll show some of this. And the object is going to be right in this area here. There's the object right there. See that? And they kind of go there and they move pretty fast. Alright, what are those? Don't know, but there they are. Recorded for all to see. Alright, we're going to go over now to Greece. This is lights above Volos. You see, this is what the formation looks like there, and there's our formation in the distance. This was from Tuesday the 12th. Okay. Pretty good shot there. Now we're going to go from Greece. We're going to go above the UK to Ware. UFO spotted in sky over Ware. An unusual object has been spotted in the sky near Ware. Ann Yates, who lives in Ware, said she has spotted the fluorescent oval-shaped object on Thursday while stargazing. Miss Yates said the object had been to the south of the town around about 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. I was stargazing and taking photos of the moon to the south of Ware. There was an object in the sky, and it was there for some time. The sighting is not the first of its kind in the country. Last month, the Mercury revealed Hertz Police has logged 27 phone calls and front desk inquiries describing supposed UFO activity since 2009. In 2011, Cotter got caught up in a UFO debate after a disc-shaped object was spotted by BBC sports reporter Mike Sewell. He described seeing the strange sighting as she drove through the village around 5:07 a.m. Alright, so there you go. That's our object in the sky above Ware, UK. Now we have a story over Peru. UFO visible in the sky over Ica, Peru for 2 hours. An unidentified flying object remained visible in the skies over Ica, Peru, for at least 2 hours on Sunday afternoon, the 10th of November. The first sighting of the object took place at 12:45 p.m. from the San Juan Bautista sector. where it was moving for a few minutes while making changes in its shape, following constant pattern, sphere, tube, diagonal shape, the old telephone receiver shape. The white color displayed an intense glow all times, perhaps as a result of the bright sunlight that shone in the completely blue sky. The unidentified object then moved eastward towards Mena, Kansas area in the La Tigana district, where it remained a small bright dot for at least 1 hour, engaging in slow maneuvers. At that time, the moon was a good point of reference, visible over the horizon. Around 2:25 p.m., the object was seen once more from the center of the city, which it had approached after remaining for some time in the hills of the area known as Kansas. From other observation sites, it was possible to see that it was accompanied by 2 other objects, which flashed brightly for a brief moment. Unfortunately, the main object and his 2 companions were recorded for a few seconds, securing evidence of what happened that afternoon over Ica. There's a link to the video, and very interesting indeed. Alright, next question is brought about: should a lottery be used to fund the search for extraterrestrials? Good question. A scientist recently proposed the establishment of a lottery bond as a means to provide funding for the search for extraterrestrials intelligence. Jacob Hag Misra of the Blue Marble Space Institute of Science is the scientist behind the proposal. He details his proposed SETI lottery bond in an article in the Journal of the British Interplanetary Society. The SETI lottery bond is fixed rate perpetual bond with a lottery at maturity, where maturity occurs only upon discovery and confirmation of extraterrestrial intelligent life. Investors in the SETI lottery bond purchase shares that yield a fixed rate of interest that continues indefinitely until the SETI succeeds, at which point a random subset of shares will be awarded a prize from the lottery pool. SETI lottery bond shares also are transferable so that the investor can benefact their shares to kin or trade them in a secondary market. The total capital raised this way will provide a fund to be managed by a financial institution, with annual payments from this fund to support SETI research, pay investor interest, and contribute to the lottery fund. Interesting idea. We'll see where it goes. Next, here is a piece. This is our last one. It says, Russia orders Obama to tell the world about aliens, or we will. A stunning Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Alright, let's go. A stunning, let me hold on a second here. Okay, a stunning Ministry of Foreign Affairs report on the Prime Minister Medvedev's agenda at the World Economic Forum this week states that Russia will warn President Obama that the time has come for the world to know the truth about aliens, and if the United States won't participate in the announcement, the Kremlin will do so on its own. The WEF is a Swiss nonprofit organization based in Colony, Geneva, and describes itself as an independent international organization committed to improving the state of the world by engaging business, political, academic, and other leaders of society to shape global, regional, and industry areas. The forum is best known for its annual meeting in Davos, a mountain resort in Graubünden in the Eastern Alps region of Switzerland. The meeting brings together some 2,500 top business leaders, international political leaders, selected intellectuals, and journalists to discuss the most pressing issues facing the world, including health and the environment. Medvedev is scheduled to open this year's forum, where as many as 50 heads of government, including Germany's Angela Merkel and Britain's David Cameron, will attend the 5-day meeting that begins on the 23rd of January. So we will see what happens, but according to this, says, the ending part here, it says, let me see, with the recent discovery in the Russian city of Vladivostok of 300 million year old UFO tooth wheel, and scientists, astronauts, and YouTube users reporting increasingly strange events happening on the moon, the European Space Agency reporting the discovery of a 1,000-year-old ancient river on Mars, and the UK and the Sri Lanka scientists saying now they have a rock solid, more than 1,000 ancient rivers on Mars. And the UK and Sri Lanka scientists say they now have rock solid proof of alien life after finding fossilized algae inside meteorite The only ones who seem to be truly losing their minds are the Western, especially American propagandists, who for decades have covered up one of the most important stories of human history, that we are not alone. 2. If Medvedev will be able to convince Obama regime to tell the truth about UFO and aliens at the WEF this week, it is not our knowing. What is not knowing, though, is that with or without the U.S., the Kremlin will surely be in the process of telling the truth about that which we already know to be true. Every human being has the right to know. Well, that's true. Every being has a right to know. And if people are waiting for somebody in official government to tell them what's going on, I think they got a bigger problem. Can't wait for your government to tell you what's going on, because look what's happening. You got an agency out there. You got the Obama administration, which is lying to people, and then when they get caught in the lie, they say they really just made a mistake. And then you have this story from yesterday. Democrats in Congress knew that he was lying, but didn't say anything because they were, I guess, going to see where he was going to go with it all. I mean, it's one lie after another. I wouldn't rely upon them for anything. But some people do. Go figure. All right, that's our UFO news. I will be right back momentarily. Here we go. Greatest crimes against this nation. Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brothers watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if I land and two if I see? And I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise! It's time to demand the truth.
All right. All right. Time to demand the truth. I think it is. Every day is time to demand the truth. Every day. So, the first story we're going to go to here it comes to us from RT, and it has to do with the NSA, National Snoop Agency, is what we call them now. Supreme Court blocks challenge to NSA phone tracking. The Supreme Court announced Monday that it would not be considering at this time a complaint filed months earlier that challenged the legality of the National Security Agency's Dragnet telephone surveillance program. The High Court issued a notice Monday without comment, acknowledging that it would not be weighing in on the matter introduced this past June by a privacy watchdog group after NSA leaker Edward Snowden revealed evidence showing that the United States Intelligence Agency was collecting metadata pertaining to phone calls of millions of American customers of the telecommunications company Verizon on a regular basis. That disclosure, the first of many NSA documents leaked by Mr. Snowden, prompted the Washington-based DC Electronic Privacy Information Center, or EPIC, to ask the Supreme Court to consider taking action that would end the collection of phone records on a major scale. When EPIC filed their petition in June, they wrote, "We believe that the NSA's collection of domestic communications contravenes the First and Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution and violates several federal privacy laws, including the Privacy Act of 1974 and the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 1978 as amended. We ask the NSA to immediately suspend collection of solely domestic communications pending the competition of a public rulemaking as required by law. We intend to renew our request each week until we receive your response." 5 months later, though the Supreme Court said this week that it would not be hearing EPIC's plea, a document began circulating in court Monday in which the High Court listened to the petition filed by the privacy advocates as denied. Denied. So, basically, they don't care that they're spying on you. Request to stop the spying, denied. You see, they're not going to care. It's all gotten corrupt. You think the presidency's corrupt, but then you realize that the Supreme Court is just as corrupt. So it doesn't matter which branch it goes to. There's just one corruption after another. And if they don't like what you say, you get replaced. Look how many military officials are getting replaced. Or how many people were replaced in the Supreme Court and in positions of authority over the course of Obama's reign. It's just nature of the beast, literally in this case. Well, here's another D.C. official fired for slamming Obamacare. Washington, D.C. Insurance Commissioner William P. White was dismissed from his post one day after releasing a statement that criticized President Barack Obama's proposed fix to the botched Obamacare rollout, the Washington Post reported. White was replaced by Chester A. McPherson, Deputy Commissioner of Market Operations at the Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking. After Obama announced that insurers could extend current plans into 2014 last July, White said that he hadn't determined whether he would allow D.C. residents to keep those plans. The action today undercuts the purpose of the exchanges, including the district's D.C. Health Link, by creating exceptions that make it more difficult for them to operate, White said in a statement Thursday. He agreed with reports that Obama's order threatens to undermine the new market and it may lead to higher premiums and market disruptions in 2014 and beyond. White told the Washington Post that he never explicitly told that he was being let go for his critical statement, but it was hard to ignore the timing. So, basically, you don't agree with the administration, don't get in the way of Obama's policy. He's out to destroy this country, and if you try to get in the way of that, good Americans are going to step up to make sure that he can destroy it. Because you know why? We have a country filled with some really smart people who have said, never in this country, not on my watch. What happened in Germany will never happen here. We have all those smart individuals protecting this country, standing up in defense of all of the unconstitutional laws. It's as if they forgot what they said, because right under their very noses, the very thing that people said shouldn't happen is happening. But it goes on, and what are you going to do about it? Well, you got to pay attention. And it's a tough world these days for parents, believe it or not, because parents really have to pay attention to what's going on with the kids. And as we can see what's happening with the adults really aren't paying a lot of attention to the kids. They're forcing vaccines upon them. They're making them change their eating programs to fit with what the government wants to feed them. There's cases you may have heard about where kids are showing up at schools with their own lunches and they're not being allowed to eat them. They have to eat the government-provided lunches. They're being taught subjects that aren't complete subjects. For example, Thomas Jefferson taken out of school books. They're being taught about New World Order. They're taught all the subjects on gender studies. I mean, it's not such an easy thing being a kid these days. It's very complicated in the things you have to learn. Not to mention being bombarded with all the advertising that's out there and the programming. Kids nowadays have to grow up so quick. There's such a loss of innocence at such a young age, it seems, because a child just has to turn on a television set and they're subject to all kind of programming that maybe they're not ready for. Okay, so we have this technology that's out there, and we need to also ask the same questions on this technology. What is it going to breed? Here's an article. It says doctors raise red flags. Young children should avoid using tablets. Tablets and toddlers, a warning for parents of tech-savvy children. The American Academy of Pediatrics said children under 2 should avoid all screen time. Jessica Cartilda reports doctors and therapists fear too much time on touchscreens could cause long-term damage. Playtime for babies is far different in the 21st century, but parents could be making a big mistake putting touchscreens in the hands of toddlers and young children. Parents think they're educating and stimulating their kids, but doctors and therapists are raising a red flag. Too much screen time can hurt their developing bodies. If they are always on the iPad, not actually doing those paper-pencil activities that they should be doing, those muscles are going to remain weaker, said occupational therapist Lindsay Marzoli. Like most 6-year-olds, Nolan Ulrich loves playing on his family's iPad in their Rosedale home. His mom limits his screen time, but still worries about how much time, especially knowing it can lead to muscle weakness. Is it okay for them to be constantly looking at something for 20 to 30 minutes straight? Says Tammy Ulrich. I did not know this would be a part of our parenting and our teaching. And Cardulus says, well, what does this work on? Nolan says, my fingers and hand movements. This game looks fun, but it's actually part of Nolan's occupational therapy. He's working on hand-eye coordination and finger movements like grasping and pinching, as well as balance and posture. All problems kids can develop if they spend too much time on touchscreens instead of running, jumping, and drawing. So there's more to the article here. Something just to keep in mind. Definitely something to keep in mind, you know. Kids should be out playing to some degree or another, but we've become so compartmentalized and so computerized that look at the world we live in. Another question I'd have to ask is there seems to be a lot of tablets that are out there, and they seem to become more and more prevalent. Well, I don't think this is going to take away from the laptop market, but if laptops and tablets have different ways in which they are able to hold information. One you can do a lot more on. A tablet seems to be more geared towards the social networks, basic internet functions, just basic information. So the question I have is, if you've got schools that are investing only in tablets, are they only then kind of encouraging those kids to go and use the computers in those socialized ways? And what about getting into the programming, the computer programming? How is that going to play itself out? Are we still going to be seeing more kids with that sort of an interest if they're only dealing with the tablets? Because the tablets don't necessarily have all that functionality at this point. Maybe at some time it will catch up, but I think it's something that we consider because the technology put before us kind of changes in what we're learning. Just think about the computer technology that was learned in the past and the programming languages, and consider what can be done and what is still being used these days that's being taught. Much of it's not being taught. And so it's up to individuals to kind of keep that learning alive. So just some thoughts, that's all. All right, here is a piece, Charlie McGrath. You've heard Charlie McGrath plenty of times, and he certainly has a very specific point of view on what's going on in the world. You hear him pretty much if you listen to Jeff Rense, he's on the show there. And here he is today talking about government cowardice, or government.
The founder of WideAwakeNews.com and a host on the Rinse Radio Network. What do we do when the watchdogs of the government, the press, are so terrified of the same government that they will not write stories to expose the tyrannical nature of this government. According to the Penn Center, a recent report that they issued showed that 85% of the writers that they surveyed are very concerned about the NSA and other government agencies spying on the American people. 85%. In fact, 73% of them say that they've never been more worried about the freedoms of the Constitution, namely the First Amendment, as they are right now. Yet a full 27% of these writers avoid certain topics or consider avoiding certain topics because they don't want to come under the microscope of these alphabet agencies, these totalitarian alphabet agencies. And a full 24% avoid doing any sort of communication by phone or email or any other electronic transfer of information. Look, Edward Snowden, he did a lot of things. I think he woke a lot of people up to the fact that this NSA, this government, this out-of-control security and military-industrial complex isn't just collecting data to try to stop terrorist events in the future. They are deep into our communication system. We know that they've broken into telecom companies. We know that they're deep into the backbone of the internet, monitoring some 75% of all communications. It isn't just about finding the next Osama bin Laden. It's about gaining total and complete control of everything that you do from the moment you get up in the morning and turn on your computer till you get onto your cell phone till you go home at night is being surveilled. When we have a press that is cowered into the weeds so that they don't get under the radar of these institutions, of these alphabet agencies, we need to realize we're far down the path of a totalitarian state. Stories are attached. That's all I got. It is time for us to be the press. The mainstream establishment media is terrified. They're terrified of Washington, D.C. It is time for we, the people, to stand up and be the watchdogs of this government. Stories are attached. That's all I got.
I think I highly agree with that. They are afraid. I mean, why else? Why else? You know, either they're involved or they're afraid to tell the truth. And as we hear the stories that come out, you know, there's plenty of shows out there like Outfoxed is one that talks all about what went on in Fox News, what goes on in Fox News. And these are reporters that used to work there, and they talk about the threats and the daily memos. You know, you can find information out there about CNN and their backgrounds and MSNBC. They're obviously not interested in telling the truth. And the people that get hired, they're willing to forgo telling the truth in lieu of the money that they receive. So they sit there and they just read a teleprompter. Eventually, though, the problems that affect everybody and that their lives, you know, are affecting get back to them, and that's when they start to pay attention. Sometimes it's too late. All right, so we have Comet ISON. Big comet coming this way. What's going to happen? Is it going to hit us? Is it not going to hit us? There seems to be, from the report you heard the other day of Thor News, there's a whole gathering of comets going on out there. So what's going to happen? Well, here, there seems to be something significant about these comets, because here we have over at Crop Circle Connector, says different images of Comet ISON and its orbital path drawn into crops long before the comet was discovered. Okay, so that's significant. Why would they be drawing it? And now here it is, and here's some of the images we've seen. Okay, we've seen, and lately we've seen Comet ISON is now taking this kind of a shape. I'll show you that in a little bit. So here we have different patterns that show orbits. And here the article goes on. It says Lefty Levengood, a pioneering biophysicist and long-term resident of Grass Lake, Michigan, died at the age of 88, educated at the University of Toledo. Let's see. I'm going to get down to where the info is here. It says some of Levengood's crop circle plant findings have been replicated by other scientists. Here's some of the different codes that he's finding in them. Okay, so let me back up here. Maybe I'm missing something here. Aha, I have to click on the link. Right, I know, duh. Okay, until they see a UFO with the telescopes, they will not believe. Chinese scientist friend commenting on the narrow-mindedness of most professional astronomers. The modern crop circle phenomena is still the most enigmatic and misunderstood occurrences of all human history. For recent reviews, see, and there's a couple articles here, still it is our underlying ignorance of cosmology which make crop pictures seem mysterious and hard to understand, not the field images themselves. Well, it goes on to say that the extraterrestrial crop artists seem to possess space-time wormhole technology. By means of technology, they have occasionally revealed certain details of future to humans on Earth. For example, during the summer of 2010, we saw images of nuclear power or radiation in the landscape drawn into crops. We saw a lunar clock with an atomic hour hand indicating the month of March 2011. Many such images were drawn in crops a month before a nuclear power disaster happened in Fukushima during the suggested month of March 2011. There was no specific mention in crops, however, of its geographical location in Japan. Okay, so it goes on to talk about more different ways in which things are shown, and then it says here we present a new series of pictures which seem to show Comet 2012 S1 ISON, as well as the orbital path through our solar system, long before the comet was discovered by astronomers, and the discovery was made last year in September of 2012. So here's some of the images. It says we cannot be sure that every crop picture to be discussed below was paranormally made, yet in some cases they show such distinct images of the future that there is no other possibility that seems plausible. No other major comets have appeared in Earth's sky since 2007, and many of the sky images for ISON are drawn into crops tell exactly where it will be located in space. So you can see there's a lot of really good things here, and you can make comparisons to the solar system and see what's going on. Alright, so a lot of information here. Lots and lots of information. We're not going to be able to get to all of this now. That's why the link will be available so you can check it out. Now if we go over here, here's another article. This comes to us from the Universe Today. It says Comet ISON grows wings. Comet Lovejoy, a fountain. Wonderful photos of ISON and Lovejoy have their swollen comas and developing tails have appeared in these pages, but recently amateur and professional astronomers have probed deeper to discover fascinating dust structures emanating from the very ones. Most comets possess a fuzzy star-like pseudonucleus glowing around the center of a coma. Hidden within this minute luminous coma cocoon of haze and gas lies the true comet nucleus, a dark icy body that typically spans a few to 100 kilometers wide. Here's some of the pictures here. Alright, so you can see it's getting brighter, and so very interesting indeed. I'll find some more and we'll get them up posted tomorrow, but it's a nice long tail that it's got going on there. Okay, and here's like a gathering of the different days. Pretty cool, huh? This is from the 12th. It's from the 16th, 17th. So that's the most recent one that's there. Nice, good long tail. Alright, we're going to jump over to an article here about how to purify crystals. So if you have any crystals, when you're looking to purify them, this is a good little introduction to that subject. Crystals are exposed to Earth energies, including magnetic and electric energy fields. Crystals live and, like us, absorb energies from around them. Different ways they absorb include lightning, pollution, natural disasters, the positioning of the planets, and from other people. Crystals attract both positive and negative energy from things around them, especially if they are in direct contact with them. Not only do we ourselves give off energy, but we absorb it directly from crystals. If a crystal is holding a lot of negative energy, we will absorb it. For this reason, we need to cleanse our crystals to get rid of what was there before and to empty it from any mean nasties we or people around us have given off. So here's what you do. First, bath time. It says before cleansing your crystal's energy, be sure to physically clean it. I like to think of it this way. If you are sick, you can sleep all week and take as much medicine you want, but until you have a shower or bath, you're still going to feel plugged up and junky. To physically clean your crystals, Just visit this page here. Let me just click on this. And it goes into what you do, how to physically bathe. Alright, physical bath, assuming that all the dirt have been removed. It's now up to you if you've got one final makeover. Alright, and basically you're going to soak in warm soapy water. You use like a soft little brush to remove anything from it. Okay, so let's go back over here. Once you give it the bath, then you're going to purify it. The way you purify it says sun and moon. Place them in a place where the crystal can be fully exposed to the rays of the sun and leave them there for 24 hours. The moon, while not as powerful as the sun, will help cleanse the crystal. Okay, so once you give it this bath, you clean it off, and then you're going to put it in a place and let it absorb the energy from the sunlight and the moonlight. So you find a good spot where for 24 hours you can just leave it there, and then you can go further. You can bury it in the earth here. You have the option of burying them. I personally have not done this because I'm way too attached to my crystals to risk having squirrels or something dig them up during the night. If you have access to clean creek or water to set them in, you can put them in running water. Some people like to let them absorb in rice, sage. You can, this says I don't care about this. You bind and light the end of your sage, and then you let it sage the crystal energies. I like the sage method myself. So those are some really good ways to get you started here. So if you are looking to do any sort of cleansing of any crystals or any stones, whatever you may have, that's what you do. Wash them off, clean off the old energy first, and then once you get done with that, then you begin the process of re-energizing them with your energy. Start with the sun and the moon, and that's a good place to start. All right, here is a message from Archangel Michael.
Archangel Michael, do not underestimate the power of your love, of your compassion.
Channeled by Ronhead, November 13, 2013.
Archangel Michael,
we are here today to speak with you of the marvelous portal into which you are passing at this time. We would pass on to you some reminders of how to best utilize this wondrous opportunity, as there are still many of you who have not yet activated or remembered the wisdom which has been made available to you both recently and in your past. Before stating that you have not such knowledge and wisdom, we would advise that you search inside with great intent and determination to find what is there, that you find that which is what you are, and not listen to the voice which tells you that it does not exist. Feel that which is what you are. Feel all of what you are. Of course, that will be the quest of your forevers, but you can begin it or continue it today. The time has come that will find you more able to see, to sense, to feel your greater selves than ever before. You will be able to learn, to remember, to expand, to grow, and to change in vastly more wonderful ways and in less time than ever before. You will find, if you look for it, a self that will surround you with all of the love which you ever need. Perhaps you might want to begin by loving that self, by welcoming that self. We tell you that this part of you, or rather the all of you that you are a part of, will arrive bringing gifts you cannot yet even imagine. You may also wish to begin by holding gratitude for those gifts even before you open the package. You are the ones chosen to bring to this world the things necessary for her, for society's evolution back into its intended purpose and condition. You were chosen to bring them and you have done so. It is time now for you to open the packages you have brought. Some of you will now find abilities and talents unknown or long dormant. Some of you will think you have not such things to bring. Be assured that is not the case. Some, indeed much, of what is most needed is the simplicity, the purity, of your hearts. Do not underestimate the power of your love, of your compassion. Do not undervalue the effect of your smiles, of the hugs you give to those around you. You cannot see with your physical eyes the extent of the change those seemingly small things bring to your world and beyond, but see in your imagination the possibility of it and you may begin to understand. This is the time when those things are needed. This is the time when they will be needed more than ever before. Stay grounded. Stay centered. Stay focused. and maintain your steadfast intent to build the world that is a wondrous garden for all to play in. May the love and blessings in your hearts surround you from this day forward. Good day to you, dear friends.
Alright, very nice. And over to our angel message for today. The message is, you really need to relax and rest now. Tomorrow is a new day. Trust the help you need is here. Well, that's a good thing, right? It's always good to take some time to rest. Make sure that we're energized for what it is we have to do in life. Let's do our meditation. Think about those things. Take a deep breath and exhale. Take another deep breath and hold it. And exhale. And as you exhale, just feel your body relaxing. Take another deep breath. Hold it. And as you exhale, feel your body relaxing and your mind energizing. And allow your mind to be energized by the activity of life around you. Look around and see what is happening in the world immediately around you that you can see with your eyes. Just imagine looking around. And then imagine seeing further past your eyesight. In order to do so, we must find a way to be able to look beyond by looking inside. And as we look inside, we look past that which is seen with the eyes. To see that which is beyond the dimensions of space and time. And we realize that energy exists on so many different levels, that by tuning into it, we see and experience. Imagine yourself walking through the world, experiencing and seeing all of the different energies around you that you don't normally notice. See these energies as part of the change which is taking place and the evolution of the planet that is occurring at this moment. Imagine yourself walking through this field of energy, this evolving energy, and imagine feeling yourself balancing on this energy. Imagine yourself getting used to the flow of this energy so that you can be balanced and move with it smoothly and easily. I want you to imagine that you're on a surfboard and you're surfing around life. And all of these waves of energy that are out there, these new waves, are flowing back and forth all around. And there you are on that surfboard, just surfing around on the waves of life. And the more you surf, the more you adjust and you gain your balance. And from this new perspective, you can see those who are still stuck in the old ways. And so you do your part to encourage them to step up, to rise up. And as you surf around through life and they see you surfing around through life, it inspires others to want to raise their consciousness, to experience and see the things that are out there. For now is the time for truthfulness. So let's take another deep breath. And as we exhale, let's imagine exhaling love out into the world. And exhale slowly. Just imagine this love being sent everywhere. And take another deep breath. And hold it. And as we exhale, let's just imagine sending light out into the world to join the love. And just imagine the world being filled with this light and this love. And let's take one more deep breath. And exhale. And as you do, allow your consciousness come back to the present moment. And let's open our eyes in the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Go ahead and open your eyes. And that's it, my friends. That's our show, our prayer for today. Thanks for being here. Just keep paying attention to what's taking place in the world. Changes are happening every day. They're not just physical changes. They're spiritual changes, cosmic changes. We need to watch it all because it's quite a show and we don't want to miss what's happening. I'll be back tomorrow. Have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.